Okay, y'all, we're going to be talking about coyotes and why they are just so dang noisy. I would like to remind everyone, please do not harass the commenter. The whole reason I'm making a video instead of just replying to their comment with messages is because it would take me like 10 different messages to reply to them. So if you harass this commenter, I'm either deleting your comments or if needed, I will block you from my page. So I don't know if you can see this outside, but I live out in northern Nevada where our coyote populations are so high we can't even get proper estimates of them. And as you can see here, I don't really have a lot of neighbors. My property backs up to a designated wilderness area. I hear coyotes a lot. Sometimes of year I will literally hear them every single night whether I want to or not. I am also a lifelong dog owner and I work with dogs, so I know a lot about dogs and I know a decent amount about coyotes because of living where I do and looking up into them because it is a special interest of mine. Pretty much anyone who lives in an area with a lot of coyotes knows one thing about them. They are super noisy. And anyone who lives with dogs and is honest with themselves will know that they love noisy things and they love responding to a wide variety of noises, especially high-pitched ones. So first, let's cover different reasons that coyotes howl. They could be howling because they heard another coyote howling or a similar sound like a siren. They might be trying to call in their pack mates to get everyone gathered together. Really quick as an aside, how many coyotes did you hear in that video? Because in truth, only 2 of them were making noise. The rest of the coyotes that later show up in that video weren't making noise until later. I don't know how to properly pronounce this, so I'm going to call it the Bo-Gest effect. Either way, this is an illusion that coyotes often utilize that makes it sound like there's way more of them than there actually are. So people often think that they're hearing a huge pack outside or that there's tons of roaming coyotes in the area when really it might only be a couple of them. And this works out great for coyotes because one of the other reasons that they might howl is because they're trying to ward off other coyotes or other predators in the area, like your dogs, and telling them, hey, we're here, this is our territory, please go away. Sometimes one of the reasons coyotes will start making a ruckus is because something nearby is stressing them out, usually a dog or a person, but it could be other predators. It could be a pup calling out for their parents or vice versa. Overall, coyotes make a variety of sounds for a number of reasons. Sometimes it's literally just because they're super excited to see each other, and it's kind of like if you and a group of friends, or possibly you and your family, see each other and you start like hooping and hollering at each other. You start getting really loud and really excited because you're really celebrating that, hey, you're here and I like you and I'm excited about that. Overall, coyotes love to make noise. It's one of their defining characteristics is that they're so boisterous. Their scientific name even reflects this. Canis latrans literally translates to dog and barking. That's also why one of their nicknames is the song dog. So are these coyote packs, or coyote families if you will, trying to lure out your dog into an ambush when they're making all this noise? No, dogs just love responding to sound. Here, watch this. Look at that. Immediately summoned 2 dogs. Now I would have done this example with coyote sounds, but unfortunately my dogs are desensitized to it at this point because I was just playing so many coyote noises to make this video. Coyotes don't want to lure in your dogs. A lot of times, dogs are much larger than coyotes. They are in much better body condition than coyotes. They're well fed, well rested. They're not exposed to the elements. They're not ridden by fleas, ticks, disease, mange, whatever. They are going to win a fight 9 times out of 10 when it comes to a dog versus a coyote. A lot of different dog breeds have very impressive resumes. They were bred for stuff like protection work, fights with other animals, including other dogs or animals as large as bears and lions. They were bred for hunting. They were bred for livestock protection. They were bred to seriously cause damage if they need to. A coyote isn't trying to call your dog any more than a cat's trying to call your dog. Just because they're vocal animals doesn't mean it's because they're trying to attract your pet. In fact, between the two, a coyote would have a much better time trying to learn how to call in your cat than they would your dog. That's a fight that they win 9 times out of 10, This is not. But if it comes down to it and your dog shows up when they're making noise, yeah, they're gonna go after your dog. Your dog shouldn't have chased after wildlife. You should have contained your dog or otherwise trained them not to go after coyotes. And when it comes down to it, they're gonna protect their family because to them, these are threats. At the end of the day, you have to remember, our dogs are descended from wolves. Wolves and coyotes are essentially mortal enemies. Wolves love to nurk coyotes just because they exist. There is no situation in a coyote's mind why some random unknown canine would run up to them other than it being a threat. Even if it was another coyote, they would probably attack that random coyote because coyotes don't just run up to each other. They're not social like that. There is no situation in the wild where a coyote would expect another canine that they don't know to just run up to them and be friendly. You have to remember, dogs are still used to this day for coyote hunting, even for luring out coyotes. You heard that right, dogs are luring the coyotes, coyotes aren't luring the dogs. They are very intimidating for a coyote, so the coyote is going to treat it as you versus me, life or death. If you would like to protect your dogs from wildlife, don't let them chase after wildlife. If they do chase after wildlife, don't be surprised if the worst possible outcome happens. And if you have a small dog, do protect them. The coyotes will hunt small dogs the same way that they'll gladly hunt a cat. And because I'm sure somebody in the comments is going to mention it, yes, coyotes also do play with dogs. No, that's not them trying to put your dog into a false sense of security. Coyotes are also just a social species and they're highly curious and they are playful. So they might play with your dogs, and if you say, well, they played with my dog and then they retreated back into the woods are not an off-limits zone for the coyote. They might also be intimidated by your dog and realize that they bit off more than they can chew. And if they retreat back to their pack, that's exactly what that means. It means that they got scared. And if you think it's weird for them to run back to their packs for safety, let me ask, what would you do if someone who was large and imposing just suddenly ran up on you and you started to get intimidated? Would you retreat to somebody for help? Maybe call the cops? Call me a wuss, but I know I would. Either way, at the end of the day, coyotes aren't trying to lure your dogs. Your dogs are just excitable little creatures who love chasing after wildlife, and when push comes to shove, a coyote's got to do what they need to survive. Anyway, sorry for this ridiculously long video. If you stuck around, thank you so much.